Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Valheim series. Today we've got a bit of a mixed bag for you, but most of this episode is a bit of a special one. So you better strap yourself in and get your special occasion helmet on. It will be one not to be missed. In the meantime, I'm just highlighting a couple of upgrades that I was able to do. I'd kind of forgotten that there was a Black Forge upgrade available, and it only gets unlocked when you first make a mechanical spring. And I made a bunch of those when I made all of the ballistas up on the roof. So with that upgrade to the workstation for the Black Forge, I was then able to add a layer to my Doorknocker Mark III and also the crossbow. Not gigantic differences, but it all adds up. Now, we're going to pick up the action where we left off, except we left our fancy mage duds behind. And as you can see, we're back here in the Mistlands at that dungeon that I was able to clear using my mage set. But not to worry, we are back in our super tanky melee build. And we're going to see how much further we can explore to the south and what other mischief we can find along the way. Okay, in our travels we have come across a skull here, and given my somewhat bottomless need for soft tissue, we are definitely not going to skip this one. That said though, thanks to the power of editing, you're not going to have to sit through the quite lengthy efforts it took to mine that one out, because it was partially submerged. But we got all of the soft tissue out of there that we could, and now we're going to be able to move on and see what else we can find. Okay, now in terms of finding mischief, we didn't have to go very far. We found ourselves a dungeon with the usual array of cockroaches outside. The pew 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 we heard earlier is a little Diverger. He'll show up here in a minute. He sort of blends in with the background there a bit, but there he is. Doing my best to not accidentally smack him in the head, because he is doing me a bit of a solid here, helping me out. Not that these standard, cockroaches are much effort to kill, really. And sure enough, they are all toast. Apparently, he must have had an additional Diverger friend who was not quite so lucky. But in our previous travels around the mysterious Mistlands, we have come across our fair share of Diverger carcasses. And Koff maybe contributed a few as well. Looks like we've got rid of most of the bugs around here, so we're going to set up shop with our portal and workbench. And, yeah, see if we can get some more black cores in here. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Here we are inside, and I've got to say, other than the sound of the ticks, this dungeon is very quiet. No stomp, stomp, stomp. So I don't know if there is actually a soldier in here somewhere. We'll have to wait and see. But we haven't seen one of those before. Don't normally see red on our cockroaches. I wonder what that could mean. Might have to open the door and find out. boys and girls, is a 2-star Seeker, and his single attack knocked me off balance. Rob suddenly took his sane pills and realised that we may have a problem. And then things got worse, because we got ambushed from behind by another 2-star Seeker. Yeah. Who is equally causing us problems with just one of his single attacks. And he's knocking us off balance through our shield block. Needless to say, Mr. 2-star Seeker went immediately to the top of my "we need to make you not exist any longer" list. But by keeping our calm and blowing our bone mass buff, we have indeed prevailed. But, yeah. If your cockroach got red on it, yeah, it's like in nature. You see red on something, it's dangerous. And turns out in Valheim, yeah, not much different. Oh, a 1-star Seeker. Yeah. They don't seem so bad at all anymore. And sure enough, didn't even present a fight. I think they all got the message when I knocked off their 2-star cousins that they really did not have any chance at all. Well, that pretty much clears this dungeon out. We're just doing a bit of a backtrack to make sure we haven't missed any little side corridors anywhere. And it turns out we did forget about this one Diverger gate. And there really wasn't that much behind it. You know, another seal breaker fragment and another gate, and really not much else going on. So we're going to wrap this one up and head back to base, do a bit of a resupply, and then we will get started with today's main event. Anyone want to hazard a guess what that might be? Leave a comment down below if you think you've got an idea. Okay, a little bit of time later, we've got ourselves a few supplies. We're also wearing a feather cape. And it looks like we're going to be making a few wisp torches. And we are carrying a seal breaker fragment. We have ourselves some poison mead. We have some tasty mead. And we also have some ooze bombs. Sounds like an interesting party that we might be getting ready for. Is this giving anyone any clues on what we might be about to do? Yep, that's right. We're going to do the Queen. So we use our seal breaker fragment. It is not consumed, so you get to keep it. And we get this lovely animation of the seal opening to the Queen's, you know, home, I guess you could say, or prison, depending on your point of view. So we've just zoned in. We're gonna stick our nose around, and that weird sound is the Queen. Now we haven't actually activated the Queen just yet. What we wanted to do was put a few more lights around, but the Queen, who you can see running around there in the background, the first time you break the seal, the Queen is actually there. You don't need to summon her. She's always up. But because she's a bit sort of frenetic in her movements, I'm using this as an opportunity to just run ahead, drop a bunch of these wisp lights around, to see if this is going to help me out later in the fight. We're going to get rid of some excess critters. Doing that step, don't know it's completely relevant because she summons more of them in all the time. So it just depends on where you end up taking the fight in terms of, you know, if you do get in those areas, it will cut down on a little bit of incoming damage if you're not having to deal with the extras. But is it essential? Meh, not really. They don't do that much damage. Now, we put our wisp lights out thinking that it was going to make this step of the fight a bit easier, but the mist is just nuts. If you're planning on doing wisp lights, about the only advice I would offer you at this time is you need a lot more than 10. Anyway, let's get our boss killing helmet on and focus on what is going on here now. The Queen has a few different attacks. She has the swipe, she has the stab 4 legs down attack, and she also has this kind of vomity spit thing where she hurls bugs at you by, you know, vomiting them up. All of these attacks do kind of hit a bit on the hard side, and my decision to continue to wear the root chest appears to be the right one, because even the ones I'm not blocking are not doing horrific amounts of damage. So I'm guessing either she doesn't hit that hard, or most of the damage that she does is piercing damage. what a lovely noise that she makes. Now, if you're wondering why I was wearing my feather cape, simple answer to that. There's many different platforms that you end up fighting on over the course of this battle, and all of her attacks have huge amounts of knockback. So if you get knocked off a platform, this could very easily save your life having the feather cape on. So now we've progressed to a different phase, which is where your health gets down a little bit and you end up getting knocked down the bottom. And this area here where you zone in is effectively indestructible. So you can stand behind here and just wail away with your Doorknocker Mark III for a little bit while she's standing on the other side of the wall, and get a bit of free damage on her while you wait for your health to recover. The reason for the ooze bombs is while she's kind of away, I'm using these ooze bombs. Each time I hear her make her noise, I can usually kind of pin down vaguely where she might be, and I just throw a few ooze bombs there just to try and, you know, kill her and maybe kill a few of the critters that she summons when she does her little vomit attack. There is going to be an almost limitless supply of Seekers that you will have to deal with in small waves, not to mention those little broodlings. So you need to be on your toes, but there are sometimes long periods where the Queen will go off somewhere. You won't hear her for a while, and you'll end up running out to try and find where she is. Which is why you'll see bits of this fight being sped up. Because the fight itself took the better part of, I'm going to say, about 40 minutes. It's a very long fight, but you need to take your time, because there's going to be a couple of spots later in the fight where you'll realise why you need to be very aware of positioning and not getting backed into a corner, because the amount of knockback that she has in her attacks can mean if you get pinned into a corner, you may not get out again. Alright, and this is the situation you're going to try and avoid by not getting backed into a corner, which unfortunately is sort of how I've ended up there. And that vomit attack, because so much of it actually hit me, well, I mean, I blocked all of it, but because so much of it hit my shield as part of blocking it, it did actually knock me off balance, which meant that I took a lot more damage there than I otherwise would have. So we have retreated to our little safe abode here. We pull out our Doorknocker Mark III to deal with the excess critters, and we see what sort of free damage we can get on the Queen while our health recovers. Alright, another round of free damage through the wall. I mean, technically, if you want to bring a spare, door knocker, you could probably do the entire fight this way, but it takes a very long time and is very, 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 very boring. So I decided I'd just use that entryway when I needed to recover some health. The rest of the time I was going to run out and, pick fights wherever I needed to pick them. I'm being a little bit more careful now because, of course, we don't have our bone mass for backup anymore. So, yeah, taking it slow, but this very much is a slow and steady wins the race kind of fight. And there goes the Queen. And we've got the couple of drops, the Majestic Carapace and the Queen's Trophy. I just ran upstairs. This is what the altar looks like. So if you've already killed the Queen and you want to come back and resummon her, you need to come back with the soldier trophies. And it takes a few of those to resummon her inside the same citadel. In the meantime, with a bit more reading with Rob, we get our Munin update telling us that there is a boss in the Ashlands that we now need to go and deal with. Yeah, thanks for that, Munin. Once again, we have a beautiful evening in Valheim for the hanging of another boss trophy. This is the Queen's altar, and the Queen's buff gives you faster mining and increased ITA regeneration. At this point, we're not going to need to switch our powers because ITA regeneration is not relevant when you're a tank. If you are planning on going into Ashlands as a mage, there will be times where that buff will probably be quite beneficial. Now, we've jumped back to base. We're putting our first upgrade down for the artisan table. So we now have a level 2 artisan table, and we can now make ceramic plates. Once you make a couple of those, it actually unlocks a new recipe called a shield core. You will need both of those in preparation for your journey to Ashlands. The scales are used to make the Drakkar, which is a boat, and it's the only boat that you can take to Ashlands because it can go through the boiling ocean without taking damage. The shield core goes into making a shield generator. I'll go into that a bit more once we get to the Ashlands, but safe to say stuff fall from the sky and shield generator will help protect you from that. It has some other benefits as well. So that's our shield generator there. It's worth noting that we are still using copper and iron. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed it, please remember to give me a thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment. If you want to see more, make sure you are subscribed and to hit the notification bell. In the meantime, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching and have yourself a fantastic day.